Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a single fundamental, well, you could almost call it a glitch in the universe's code. It's a concept that helps explain why time only moves forward, how life itself is even possible, and why we experience reality the way we do.
So, let's start with a big question. What could possibly connect something like Einstein's relativity with the fact that time is a one-way street and the very existence of life? On the surface, they seem completely unrelated, right? Well, it turns out they all spring from the exact same deep, universal pattern. And the answer is this really elegant and powerful idea called broken symmetry. You can think of it as one of the universe's most important engines for creating, well, pretty much everything. But to really get how it's broken, we first have to understand what it looks like when it's perfect.
Okay, so imagine a perfectly smooth, completely featureless sphere. There's no up or down, no left or right, no special points on its surface at all. Every single direction is identical. That is perfect symmetry. It's a state of pure potential where, nothing has really happened yet.
Now, imagine a single drop of water lands on that perfect sphere. Instantly, the perfection is gone. There's now a here and a not here. A specific location has been chosen. And that's it. That's broken symmetry. It's that exact moment the universe stops weighing all the possibilities and just makes a choice, turning all that abstract potential into a concrete reality.
Let's put it another way. On one hand, you have a totally blank canvas where all possibilities are equal. And on the other, you have the very first brushstroke. That initial break from uniformity, that's what allows patterns and structure and ultimately the entire complex universe to emerge.
So where does this pattern actually show up in the real world? Well, our first stop is going to be Einstein's theory of relativity and the very fabric of space-time itself.
Now, the key word here, the one you really need to latch onto, is local. This suggests that our own personal point of view is what actually forces reality to make a choice, to break its perfect symmetry. You see, if you could somehow step outside the universe and just look at it from a distance, space and time wouldn't be two separate things. They'd be all interwoven into a single four-dimensional fabric, a perfectly symmetrical space-time. From that viewpoint, there's no special now.
But here's the thing. You're not outside the universe, are you? You're in it. Your very motion through space-time, your personal journey, is what breaks that perfect 4D symmetry. It literally splits the universe into the reality you experience, the three dimensions of space you can move through, which you call here, and the single dimension of time you travel along, which you call now.
But it's not just about space. This very same principle also explains one of the deepest mysteries of time. Why does it only seem to flow in one direction?
We all get this intuitively, right? Coffee gets cold, buildings eventually crumble, and eggs, well, they splatter. Things go from order to disorder. You can remember the past, but you can't remember the future. This one-way flow is what we call the arrow of time.
And guess what? This is also a broken symmetry. While the basic laws of physics couldn't care less about the direction of time, complex systems absolutely do. Think of it like a memory. The connections between things, the memory of an ordered state, like an intact egg, they naturally fade over time. They don't just spontaneously get stronger. This universal tendency for things to become less connected is what breaks the time symmetry, creating that one-way street from a more ordered past to a more disordered future.
Okay, now for what might be the most profound consequence of this entire principle. Let's see how broken symmetry is literally the secret ingredient that makes life itself possible. So, picture a totally uniform, undifferentiated soup of chemicals. That's a symmetrical state. For life to even begin, that symmetry has to be broken. A boundary needs to form, creating a clear distinction between me and not me, or inside the cell versus outside the cell.
And that simple break, it's everything. It allows for a cell wall, which in turn creates differences between the inside and the out, these gradients that power the cell's machinery. This principle then scales all the way up, building the layers of complexity from organs to organisms to entire ecosystems. You could say life is just a beautiful cascade of broken symmetries.
All right, for our final piece of evidence, we're going to the deepest, strangest level of reality there is, the quantum world, where all our normal ideas about objects and existence just start to fall apart. At the scale of individual particles, the whole idea of a thing existing by itself becomes pretty much meaningless. A particle's properties, like its position or its momentum, they only become definite when it interacts with something else.
So, the ultimate symmetry, you could argue, would be a particle existing all on its own, in isolation. But reality breaks this. It seems to enforce a fundamental rule. Nothing is truly real until it's in a relationship with something else. Our universe isn't built from standalone bricks. It's woven from an infinite network of connections. So, we've looked at space-time, the arrow of time, the structure of life, and the very nature of quantum reality. Let's pull all these different threads together and see the grand pattern they reveal.
It really all comes down to this, one single principle. A break from perfect uniformity is responsible for our personal experience of space and time, for time's relentless forward march, for the intricate structures that create life, and maybe, just maybe, for the very nature of existence itself.
Look, this isn't just some abstract idea from a physics textbook. It is the universe's primary tool for building interesting things. Broken symmetry is the engine that takes a uniform, kind of boring state and transforms it into stars, planets, biology, and consciousness. It's the ultimate source of all the patterns that make up our world. Which, of course, leaves us with one final and pretty tantalizing question. If our entire universe was born from a single broken pattern, what other perfect symmetries are still out there, just hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right little nudge to shatter and create a reality we can't even begin to imagine?